This video is brought to you by Rejuvenate and Restore. Rest and relax the body with a gentle online yoga program. Feel the relief. www.yogatraveler.online/restore.
Hello, and welcome to Restorative Yoga today. Our focus is on how to ease pain and pressure in our back with restorative yoga poses. Now, restorative yoga is all about using props, and I'll show you what we're using today, to be able to hold in a yoga pose for a little while. And this is to allow the body to start to release. Sometimes, if we get out of a pose too quickly, our body doesn't have time to adjust to the changes that need to happen, the release that needs to happen. And in this restorative yoga workshop today, or class, we will be focusing on letting our body relax into the pose to release. Relax to release. So hopefully you will feel that as we practice today. We'll start with a couple of props, and you'll want to have all of these handy, or at least some form of them. I have a yoga blanket. This is just a Mexican blanket. Any blanket will do if you don't have this specific one. A yoga bolster. If you don't have a bolster, a pillow would be great. Something that's a little bit firm is beneficial. So grab that. A yoga strap. And you don't have to have a strap. You can use a hand towel or a men's tie if it's one that he doesn't care about. And then some yoga blocks, and you could use a stack of books for these. Anyway, you can use a stack of books for these. It's helpful to have them the same height. So things you can gather around your home. If you need to take a moment to gather, hit pause and go get your things. All right, let's get set up for our first pose. You'll notice that I'll be using my watch. It is not to play with my phone or to check social media. It's just to set a timer so that we don't stay in these poses all day long. We just want to be in them for a little while. So I will be using that. Please don't be distracted by that. Let's start with a supported Supta Baddha Konasana. So we'll begin with using blocks and probably place them lengthwise on your mat. And then the bolster comes, it's like a little ski slope here. The bolster comes and you can use that to rest upon. You'll see we'll sit with our hips right up against the edge of the bolster, and then bring your feet together, knees open to the side. So this position here is Baddha Konasana. Supta is where we lay back onto it and we're supported with our bolster. So as you lay back, your head should rest right where those blocks are, and your body is supported by this bolster. Now, if you feel like you want to lay lower, you can. You just take the blocks away, and it looks a little more like this, just flat, and you lay back. This is a little bit more intense for the hip flexors and the psoas in the front of our body. So if you feel like you want to lay that way, you can. You can choose whichever direction, whichever option you want. I'll turn on my timer. Lay back, close your eyes, and let's start breathing in and out through the nose. This is called Ujjayi breath. When we slow our breathing down and make it even and regular and consistent. See if you notice that rise and fall of the chest, but then also notice around through your back that body, that slow, deep breathing, the expansion of the rib cage. And then see if you can press the air down into your diaphragm through the belly, the deep toward the belly, to feel that sensation of deepening in the breath. Now this pose helps to ease our back because it opens up our hips, opens up the sacrum. We're supporting the back with the bolster. We're laying back to open up the chest. So everything is supported. The shape of the spine, that curve of our spine is supported. And our hips are opening to release low back pressure in the sacrum. And your job while you're here is just to hold the pose and breathe. Slow and steady. Start to lift yourself up to come out of this pose. We would take just our hands by our sides here to anchor ourselves and bring your feet together. And just start to pull up, and we'll reverse that position to fold forward. So take your bolster now in front of you. We'll come into supported balasana, supported child's pose. So this one, we let our knees open a little bit wider, maybe to the edge of your mat, so that again, the sacrum in your back opens up. We sit back and we can just lay our body on that bolster. Now, one may not be low, or maybe too low. So you can take a second pillow or a bolster and lay on it. That's a little more comfortable for alignment of the back. See how my back is just in line with my hips? So I can just rest here. We'll hold here for just 1 minute on each side of our neck, what I mean. So turn your head one way. Let's just hold for a moment and breathe. You'll want your feet to be relaxed, so don't be on your toes here. Take your feet down, sit back, stretch out the top of the feet, and just let your arms gently fall over the sides. So we pull a little release through our shoulders. We're putting some pressure into our hips in order to open up that low back area. Again, where we're focusing today, our relief. Rest and relief for the back. Let's switch over to the other side. So just turn your head and go the other way. Give a little neck relief as well. Nice, gently lift yourself up. I'm going to take a variation of this pose now. Let's bring both legs to the side of the bolster. So now I've got my hip right against the bolster and my legs are just curved back behind. We'll move into a twist, a balasana twist. Now twists release back pressure because we're rotating through the spine. So taking that motion, curving of the spine, and then as we hold, it can release pressure in our back. So as we lay down, we want to turn our body. So I've got my right hip against the bolster and then my left shoulder is going to go down to the mat. So there's the twisted sensation there. And I lay with my head facing toward the left. Again, I'll turn on our timer here. And we can hold and breathe into this supported twist. Good. Go ahead and lift yourself up, carefully, gently. And let's take our other hip toward the bolster. So I'll just switch my legs to the other side. Now I've got my left hip against the bolster. And I'll angle my body down. Oh, I just got a crack through my back. That's a good sign. Angle my body down so that my head is gazing to the right, completing that twist. And now, let's just be here, huh? Make sure your slow and steady breathing is continuing. It probably is. Probably in a very relaxed, resting breath. As is our goal today, rest and restore our back. Gently start to lift yourself up. Let's swing our legs around and come into Janushirasana. This one we'll use our blocks and our bolster. So start by bending your right knee up towards your leg. Now you might need a block underneath your knee for a little support, but since we're using our blocks, maybe just take your blanket under there for a little support. You might need that. And then our blocks go on the edge, right by our foot and our leg here to make a little shelf. I'm actually gonna let that go. So rest that bolster right on top of the shelf, and then you just lay yourself forward. Now you see me reaching for my toe. We're just gonna hold on for a moment. You can take your strap just to feel your body spilling over the top of that bolster. You need to scoot it out just a little. And instead of using the strap, we're gonna relax. We're gonna relax this whole leg and let our head just fall down onto that bolster. So again, feeling that sensation through the neck as well, and then relax. Now what you may notice you in the pose, and I'll explain what's going on. What you may notice is a stretching through the left hamstring and the calf, but we're not trying to pull, we're just letting it be. The simple act of pulling forward, though, might give you that tug in the hamstring. If you feel like it's too far down, try taking that second bolster or even a blanket, pat it up a little bit more so it's not quite as low, right? You can always rest on a higher place depending on how tight your back is. So you'll feel the hamstring, you'll feel the sacrum opening in the low back because we've got one of our legs bent, opening that hip space back there. And then as we relax, we'll just try to let go of tension. Just try to let it go and sink into that bolster. Our body can rest because we're folded over and laying on a pillow. Gently lift yourself up. Let's set the bolster aside for a moment so we can set up our other leg. Pull that left knee in. Place your blocks. Take your bolster. Slide it just a little bit. And fold forward. You can use that strap again to kind of pull your torso over the leg. Then relax your strap, let it go. And I would turn my head the other direction this time, just because we want to release some neck as well. We're just gonna let ourselves hang into it. Relax. You can feel your other hamstring now on that right leg. You can feel that back lengthening over the bolster, opening up through the back body into the hip on the left side. Gently lift yourself up. Let's set this aside for a moment. It's time to come onto our back. So lay yourself down on your back. We'll move to Supta Padangusthasana. All right, take your strap around the right foot and extend it up to the sky. Now, if you have a lot of back pain, keep this left leg straight. Our goal is to keep this right leg as straight as we can so that we can pull on this hamstring. Now, that may not mean that you're at 90 degrees. You might be further down here, and that's okay. This is why we have our strap. We can just let our leg rest in that strap and start to feel that pull through the hamstring. You're welcome to lengthen out this leg if you're able to do that. If you feel like you can handle that, go ahead. It's a little bit deeper for the psoas. So as we hold, we're just going to gently pull upward on our foot to feel this stretch through the back of the calf, the back of our leg here. And what's happening to release our back is as we pull our leg toward us, it presses the low back down. And since we're laying down, we don't have to worry about holding our balance. We can just embrace, our body can embrace into the floor so that we can do the stretching that we need. And this particular stretch is going to stretch the hamstrings and the hips, which are all connected to our back. So if one is tight, sometimes everything is tight. Good. Now let the leg open to the right side. So make sure you have enough room. I might kick my wall here, but that's okay. And I like to keep my hand on my left leg here so that I don't roll to the right side. And what's this doing, you can see, is it's pulling open through the inner thigh and groin in the front of the hip there, and opening up that space in the back body through the sacrum. Great twist, or great opening sensation of the hips. And just keep breathing, slow and steady. Nice. Now take your leg back through the middle and we'll swap our hands. So now I've got my strap in my left hand so that I can pull across the body. Now this is for the IT band in the outer edge of the hip. This time your right hip is going to lift off the floor, that's fine, but our anchor is our right shoulder. So we want to put our hand down on the ground and feel that right shoulder connect, which may not mean that you're going all the way down to the floor. If my right shoulder pops up, I've gone too far. So bring it back. Feel that anchor of the right shoulder and feel that pull through the outer edge of the right hip. The straighter you keep your knee, the more you will feel this in the hamstring as well. And it's a deep pull. This one's deep for me. I can feel it all the way up to my calf. It's great. If you want to twist your neck, you can turn your gaze back to the right side, which will pull that curve in the neck. Good, bring it back into the middle. And let's bend our knee into our chest and just hold it there for a moment. You can sway the leg around a little bit, take some little hip circles. to release that pressure in the hip socket. I like to go both directions. And this whole time we're pushing our low back to the floor, and again, easing that pressure in the low back. Beautiful. Let's repeat the same thing on the left. So take your left foot in that strap, extend it to the sky. You can bend your right knee. Remember, that's an option that will anchor the low back to the floor really nicely. And remember that you don't have to have this at a 90-degree angle. It's better to keep your knee straight so that you can stretch the hamstring. So if you need to, just stretch down that strap a little bit. Start here. And if you feel, as we hold and breathe, that your hamstring starts to relax, you can pull up on it. Slowly, a little bit at a time. So let's just hold here and enjoy this pull through our hamstring. Let the strap do the work. Good, guide your leg open to that left side now. And keep your hand on your right hip so that you don't roll too far. See if we can feel this stretch through the inner thigh and groin, psoas, on that left side. The straighter the knee, the more we're pulling on that hamstring. And this is widening open the space in the sacrum, where the low back connects to the hips. That's where a lot of people feel pressure. So this can help release some of that pressure. Good. Bring your leg back to the middle. Let's switch hands. Take our right hand in that strap now. Extend your left arm out. Now you can see, here's my anchor, my left shoulder. So if I let my leg go too far, then my left shoulder is going to pop off. We don't want that. We just want to feel that pull through the outer edge of the hip, into the hamstring, maybe into the calf. And then that sensation of opening up. Sorry, I'm getting too close. I'm going to scoot. There we go. Opening up through that outer, open up through the outer shoulder and chest. Now, one thing you can do, I didn't mention this on the other side, if you feel like the leg is uncomfortable because maybe it's not on the ground, it's hovering, you can place your leg or your arm onto your blocks or your bolster and let it rest there. And that's nice. Then you've got the bolster doing the work and the strap doing the work, and you can still get the benefits through the body, but some of the release, right? Back into the middle. Let's lower it down, set your strap aside, we won't need it again. And we'll just gently circle the leg in the hip socket there. And if you feel any discomfort in your back, bending your knee, feet on the floor, foot on the floor can help release that pressure. So just move to that. It is fine. Let's go the other way. And we're set up perfectly for a supported Setu Bandhasana or bridge pose. So we'll take both feet to the floor and grab a block. So our blocks have 3 heights. They have the low, the medium on the long edge, and then way tall on that high edge there. So I'm going to put my block at my hips on the medium height. And it just rests across my hip bones. My feet are hip width distance apart. And we're in this gentle lift to stretch through the front of the legs of the quadriceps and gently opening up through our chest as our arms just fall down to the side. We've got our timer going again here. I haven't used it in a little bit. Okay, so this position is holding us in place so that we can relax our back body, our legs, our hamstrings, our glutes, and just let the block do the work of the lift. Come on down from that position. Just set your block aside again. We won't use it anymore. And pull either one knee at a time into your chest, nice and slow, or you can bring both knees into your chest. We just want to press that low back to the floor one more time. Almost to our finish. Our final pose is a spinal twist, a supine twist. So we'll use our bolster. Take your bolster to the side of you. And then just let the legs fall down onto that bolster. If it feels uncomfortable in your hips, you can take your blanket in between your legs. This just widens out that space for the hips, so our legs are more like hip width distance apart. And then we twist the torso toward the other side. So you can take out your opposite arm there and send your gaze over that hand. And your job is to completely relax. We've been holding our body, even though we've been restful, we're still holding on to things. And now we want to let everything go. So just feel that sensation of the twisting of the back in order to release. Our hips, our legs are supported on our bolster. We just gently turn our head and see what you can get to let go. Bring yourself back around to the other side. So we'll just gently shift our bolster to the other side of the mat. You keep your knees, the blanket between your knees if that feels good. Let your legs drop down. Extend your other arm out. Close your eyes. And see how much you can relax. Stretch our arms overhead, legs down below. Gently roll over onto one side so that you can carefully sit yourself up to a seated position. If you want to release pressure in the hips, just take that blanket underneath your hips. Let's finish off with a unified breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you. I hope you feel rested and restored and a little bit of relief in the back. Namaste.